Hey guys, it's your Peacekeeper coming at you with a premium ship review that you guys have been asking for quite some time, and that is the Kamikaze class destroyer, or the more closely related Fujin class destroyer. Both of these ships play basically the same as the old Kamikaze class, the old Minekaze class does, and as a result, you can look at some of my older Minekaze videos too for more gameplay footage. They play very much similar. Really a lot of fun to play. The Kamikaze class, it represents 27 planned but only 9 completed destroyers built between 1921 and 1923. The Kamikaze class was basically identical to the earlier Minekaze class, apart from the bridge, which was improved by the use of steel. As a result of the increase in the center of gravity of the ship, they had to widen it slightly, which reduced its speed down to 37.5 knots. However, they were considered just as good as the Minekaze class in terms of their overall combat history. Mostly speaking, on the operational side of things, the Kamikaze class operated in the Philippines and around the Japanese home ports, plural, and only a couple of them really have anything really interesting in terms of history. Only 2 of them actually survived the war, and one of them that survived the war actually grounded itself and was later written off as scrap almost immediately after the end of the war. And in terms of other combat history, several of them were involved in the Japanese invasion at Wake, and the destroyer Hayate was actually sunk in the Battle of Wake by the 5-inch guns on the island. Oite was damaged at Wake and then finally sunk at the Battle of Truk. And, most of the rest of them were lost due to, surprisingly, U.S. submarines. Wouldn't have thought that if I had to pick it. Usually the destroyers are the ones hunting the submarines. Anyway, Kamikaze means divine wind or god wind. That's pretty common. And unlike the association with the aircraft, the Kamikaze in-game plays a lot differently than that. We're certainly not ramming ships and suiciding into them, but we are employing some very interesting and fun battle tactics that might resemble, a suicidal attack run. But before we get to talking more about the gameplay style, let's go ahead and dive on into those stats. She has 11,100 hit points, next to no armor. It's a destroyer, no duh. She has 420mm guns with a main battery firing range of 9.1 kilometers, and they reload in 9 seconds, which is an eternity in a destroyer. She does have 6 torpedo tubes in 3 twin launchers. They have a 7-kilometer range with a 68-knot top speed and do 14,400 damage with a detection range of only 1.4 kilometers. Yes, those are the old Minekaze torps prior to the Japanese destroyer split, but not the old Minekaze torpedoes, which were 10 kilometers instead of being 7. In terms of anti-aircraft defense, she has none. We're just going to call that none. 4 DPS at basically point-blank range. You're not going to be shooting down any ships or any aircraft with this ship. Interestingly enough, this ship actually was designed with a different set of guns to be used, and I don't know why Wargaming opted to choose these over the guns that they were actually launched with, which were 120mm 50 caliber length, and then were put into a dual purpose mount. These are 120mm 45 caliber in length and not in a dual purpose mount. Her maximum speed in game is 39.4 knots. That's with the speed flag. 550 meter turning radius and 2.9 second rudder shift time, so very maneuverable. Detection range by sea is 5.4 kilometers, and her detection range by air is 2.8 kilometers. And as you can imagine, that detection range is a lot of fun to mess around with. In terms of modules, main armaments mod 1 for the reduction in the chances of your main battery and torpedo tubes becoming incapacitated, as well as increasing their hit points by 50%, as well as decreasing their repair time by 20%. In the second slot, I would definitely recommend taking Aiming Systems Mod 1 over the other ones. That's going to reduce the dispersion of your main battery by 7%, It's going to increase the rate at which your torpedo tubes turn by 20%. It's going to also mess around with secondaries, which you don't have. The only other option here that's really even worth talking about is main battery modifications 2, which is going to increase how long it takes your guns to reload, but it's also going to make them turn faster. Personally, I don't see this as being that useful. The ship will always outturn its guns, and reducing the rate of fire on those main guns actually hurts the ship more than it helps it, so definitely not an upgrade that I recommend. In this third slot, I recommend Propulsion Systems Mod 1, which is going to reduce the chance of your engines becoming incapacitated, as well as reduce the time it takes to repair them. Of course, Steering Gears Mod 1, there could be a good case made for it as well, and that is going to reduce the chance of your steering gears being incapacitated by 20% and decrease their repair time by 20%. Damage Control Systems Mod 1 really doesn't have any use on this ship, and I definitely don't recommend it. It's simply too little of a benefit for the ultimate cost in it. And really for destroyers, if you're on fire or flooding, chances are you're probably dead anyway, especially if your repair party is down. In terms of gameplay style, it's a fast, highly maneuverable, very capable torpedo ship, but it does have 4 guns on it, and so it does play an awful lot like Minekaze does. It certainly plays a lot like the old Minekaze does, and of interesting to note, this middle turret here, the number 2 turret, does swing quite well from side to side, and so no matter what you do, you're only ever waiting on this back turret to ever get into position when it comes to traversing your turrets and engaging while charging subjects. And so it allows for you to do a lot of really fun and interesting charge torpedo maneuvers while engaging in gunnery battles. And this ship is a lot of fun to play. I really enjoy it. Enough of me talking about it. Let's actually see a battle with it. Alright, so this battle is a Tier 5 fight, and it does have 2 carriers in it. A Tier 5 and a Tier 4. There is a lot of battleships, so that's going to artificially inflate numbers a little bit. But, that said, I think those 2 carriers could have easily mitigated any effect that a real torpedo boat would have had. Needless to say, damage is right around 90,000 damage, like 88 something. Which, for a Tier 5 destroyer is very impressive. And those of you guys that remember the original Tier 5 Minekaze or the post-torpedo nerf Minekaze that had the original 7K torps like this ship has, it's still a very, very potent ship, even with aircraft, even with other cruisers and destroyers. It's fast, it's maneuverable, and there's just so many good things to say about it. I just can't contain how much fun the ship was, and after playing the Minekaze and getting really good with it, prior to the Japanese destroyer split, I had to pick up a ship that resembled it, and of course when the Kamikaze came up for sale, I picked it up right away. Now, if those of you who have the Fujin, it's basically the same ship, or if you have the Kamikaze R, I think there's even a Fujin R out there. If you have those ships, it's all basically the same ship. If you want to get it for collector's purposes, certainly go for it. Otherwise, there's really no reason to pick up more than one. So if you've got the Fujin, this video certainly suffices for it. The playstyle is identical. The ship's stats and layout are basically identical. Really not a whole lot of change there. Also, as I said in the first part of this video, if you're looking for more how to play videos for this, check out some of my older Minekaze videos. The ships play basically the same. Now, the new Minekaze, not so much. There's some differences. I mean, the new Minekaze has worse torpedoes, but really not a huge difference. Just those torpedoes are a little less forgiving. And, well, it's still, the new Minekaze is still a great ship. But we're going off here to the north on this map. I think this is Arpeggio, I think. And we're going to launch torpedoes at this Phoenix. Now, the torpedoes are 7K. You'll notice I launched them at basically 7.5K, and I launched them in such a way that the Phoenix hopefully will turn into them. Well, unfortunately, he's a little bit smarter than that, and he takes a bit of a maneuver there and ends up avoiding them. But you can see here we are not detected. We managed to sneak through all the aircraft to get to where we're at right now. We are spotting for our team, which is good. And we were able to spot those torpedo bombers running along the map edge. Also of interesting note, we have put ourselves in a position to where we have a Congo exposed with really only this Phoenix as his protection. And that Phoenix isn't providing exactly what I would call the world's best protection. Okay, so we're going to launch torpedoes at this Congo, and, well, maybe we'll kill the Congo. Who knows? Just kind of depends. One of the things that you got to pay attention to when it comes to launching torpedoes is you want to put the torpedoes where the ship is going to be. That sounds really obvious until you factor in that there are so many things that cause ships to change directions. And so anticipating that is going to require a level of map skill and map sense. And here I am, I'm detected, I don't know by what. I mean, the Congo is the right distance to us, but, well, now he can spot us. Normally those islands break that. You can see there that not a whole lot of usefulness there with the way that worked out. We're going to launch torpedoes and we're going to duck behind the island and we're going to try and avoid getting hit by said Congo. Meanwhile, we're hoping to start him on fire. Maybe we can get him to flood. That would be amazing. No. Okay. Oop. Took a light bit of damage there. Alright, well, now we're going to wait for our torpedoes to come up. Now, part of playing one of these destroyers well, any of the Japanese destroyers, is being patient. So, with 12 seconds to go, I know that this well, for one, he's going to beach himself, but two, I know that I will be able to sneak out here and pop smoke and be able to launch to where he was at. And furthermore, you know, he's going to be backing up, and as a result, started him on fire. We want to put the torpedoes where he's at, so that means not aiming directly at the aiming indicator, but aiming at where he will most likely be, and you can see how quickly that ends poor Congo's life, and we are currently in their cap with very little challenger to our supposed reign here. We are going to end up, you know, sitting in their cap, and that comes with risk. There's a cruiser coming in, and it's a Königsberg, and it's a cruiser, guys. Don't recommend this. Do as I say, not as I do. Launching again, torpedoes to where he might be. And because he's angled towards us, there's a possibility that he could turn to his right or to his left that would lengthen or shorten. You can see we put those torpedoes where I thought he was going to be. And he sneaks between them like a jerk face. He is shooting AP at me, which means if I angle myself, there's a good chance that I will just bounce. And this is a perfect example of using WASD to avoid getting hit by enemy ships. And we got dive bombers coming in as well, certainly something we need to pay attention to. And so he's trying to aim, and it's very difficult for somebody to hit. If you've never experienced this before, it can be very difficult to hit a destroyer that is on the run. And we are once again launching torpedoes where we think this Königsberg is going to be. Meanwhile, we are abusing the WASD keys. A little bit of WASD there to avoid taking any damage from the dive bombers. And we are once again getting hit quite hard by the Königsberg's guns. Started me on fire. We need to put that out ASAP. Come on, disappear behind the island. Whew! Talk about cutting it close. Well, obviously, you guys know what's going to happen. I'm certainly not going to let 40,000 damage go, especially since, well, I already told you that the battle was more than that. He's 6.1 kilometers away. Again, we are launching torpedoes where he is most likely going to be, and we are accounting for all the likely movements. He is chasing us to the edge of this map, and it's important to note that we need to be paying attention to the mini-map. We got those torpedo bombers to our south. We've got him to our west. We can't go too far. Oh, Got him with a torpedo. Excellent. But we couldn't. We had to be cautious about where we went because those torpedo bombers could spot us if we got too close to them. Now they're 5.4 outer detection range of 2.8, but ultimately we got to be paying attention to that in case they make a sudden change in direction. And now we're gonna go back to their cap. Gameplay wise, they are in our cap. It's really not a good position to be in. And I am almost dead, so that means any ship that we go up against, I had better be able to take out. Thankfully, Captain Tuna decides that he is going to come and assist, and we are detected by aircrafts, which gives away our position, which means expect terrible things to happen, like being the focus of every dive bomber squadron launched by both their carriers. Never a good place to be if you're in a destroyer, especially one that has 4 DPS starting at 1.2 kilometers of range. Yeah. Not a fun place to be. Ultimately, though, the stealth of the ship does offer a lot of really good advantages. And as we sit here and await to, cap this point out, I feel obligated to respond that there's a number of different tactics that you can take when it comes to dealing with dive bombers and torpedo bombers. Just as a reminder, dive bombers, their attack profile is an elongated ellipse, meaning that when they drop their bombs, it's going to be more long than it is wide. So if you can get dive bombers to attack while you are broadside to them, while you are perpendicular to them, it will make it very difficult for them to land more than maybe 1 or 2 bombs. Rather than letting them attack you lengthwise, that's when they get all sorts of bomb hits because that's in the direction of the travel of the bombs. That is contrary to torpedo bombers, in which torpedo bombers you never want to give your broadside to because they have a tendency to hurt really bad. Here we are deploying smoke for friendly because we are capping. We also have this Kamikaze R coming in. Just want to present a very, very large torpedo wall that's very difficult for him to avoid and take advantage of our own smoke. Of course, sail outside of it, that's fine. I more or less was more interested in keeping... of course we're spotted by aircraft. Was more or less interested in keeping our Omaha there alive, at least from other battleship fire. Of course, none of it matters with those aircraft detecting him and taking fire from that Kamikaze R. We missed with our torpedoes on him, but the good news is he can't see me, but I can see him. And so we are going to use our guns and our smoke. Now, these little 120mm guns don't do a whole lot to big ships, but to little ships they do quite a lot. And again, launching torpedoes, being cognizant of where they are at. We are saving a torpedo set, just in case. We are also going to go around this island, because we don't want to hang around. He's got us at a definite hit point pool disadvantage. We are detected anyway, so that means powering up. All of our torpedoes have missed. We've got torpedoes ahead of us that were launched. No! Dive bombers trying to attack. Definitely want to avoid those torpedoes. Okay, well, here he is. He's coming back around this side. We can see that. There you can see I was using the torpedo lead indicator to determine what direction he was going. And again, engaging him. Some very good hits. He's shooting AP, so bounce, bounce. And I am shooting HE, and there he goes. Whew! Count our lucky blessing. Oh, carrier. Don't threaten me with a good time. Let's go get us some carrier kills. Now, we've got the speed boost up. It does help a lot. And so we're going to go and we're going to kill this guy. I'm sick of him sending aircraft at me. I don't have any AA to really deal with him. I'm detected anyway. We might as well begin engaging him with guns. I want to, again, remember, present the most minimal profile you can to enemy aircraft. We'll put torpedoes where he's going to be. And alright, well, we're going to try and start him on fire. Thankfully, he is not paying very good attention to me. The only thing they have left are 2 carriers. He's got his fighters over top me, which really isn't that annoying. I'm really not that concerned about it. More or less, though, what I want to do there is make sure that I am going to get, one, some good torpedo hits, but two, I wanted to make sure that I get some evasion. Yep, there we go. So now their Langley is dead. That one aircraft carrier down. That means it's time to go find us their other aircraft carrier. If you pay attention to the mini-map, the direction that his aircraft are coming from, they're coming from behind this island in the EF2 range. And so we're going to go head that way. We got 2 minutes before our speed boost is up, and we are getting spotted by dive bombers that are flying overhead that are in our detection range, which is really annoying. But, you know, I guess I don't know what else to really say aside from they're annoying. It's aircraft in a torpedo boat. You know, there's a lot of disadvantages to playing a torpedo boat with aircraft flying around. Really, it's not that big of a deal. You just have to plan a little bit better. Make sure that when you are in an environment in which there's a lot of aircraft around, that you do pay attention to them, especially when you're trying to sneak up on the ship. Like, for instance, we got this dive bomber squadron coming in. We know our air detect range is 2.8, so we cut speed until he gets to the going away from us side. And, well, we got a torpedo bombers coming in. We're going to get detected as soon as they come in anyway. We're going to get detected as soon as this carrier gets spotted anyway, so it's not like it matters a whole lot at this point. You can see where the dive bombers are headed and where they disappear to. There's their carrier. Just briefly pops up. Now he's really popped up. Let's light him on fire. Now the Zuiho, you know, I don't think he's really any faster than I am. Certainly not faster than I am at almost 40 knots. We got that speed boost coming up at 20 seconds. But we are basically over here by ourselves to handle Mr. Zuiho. Okay, so we got a fire. That's going to prevent him from launching any aircraft. We're going to launch torpedoes. But ultimately, I'm not so sure that these torpedoes are going to make that big of it. Ooh, incoming dive bombers. So again, remember that dive bombers, when they come in, you want to present a broadside to them because they have a tendency to miss them. When they are coming at you lengthwise, they have a higher probability of hitting. Ah! Okay, so the match ends before our torpedoes can get there. Wish those guys would have jumped out. I would have gotten another kill. 85,595, so basically 85,600 damage, 3 kills, 1,406 base XP. Here is the detailed report and the credits and XP screen. You can see this thing does print pretty good money. It is a Tier 5 premium, and it is a good waxing nostalgia. I want my Minekaze back ship. So if you miss the old Minekaze, pick up the Kamikaze or Fujin the next time it comes up on sale. I'm your Peacekeeper. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.